Hello everyone, this is Ravindar Dundra and welcome back to my channel. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about class 10 geography chapter number 6, that is manufacturing industries. In the previous lectures about this topic, we have already seen about this mineral based industries, and we have seen some of the important industries such as chemical industries, fertilizer industries, automobiles, as well as information and technology industry. So now what we are going to discuss in this topic is that it is about industrial pollution as well as this environmental degradation. So till now we have seen what are these industries and how they manufacture, what are the challenges being faced by them, and what kind of improvements we can make in them. But now what kind of impact that is created by the industries. So let us see the very important impact created by these industries is about this pollution. So most of the industries, they all are responsible for this pollution, and what type of pollution they create is that they mainly create air pollution, water pollution, land pollution, as well as this noise pollution. So these are the main 4 different types of pollution which are created by these industries, or you can also say they are responsible for this pollution. So now what we will do is that what is this air pollution, how it is caused, and what can be done to control this air pollution. In the same way, we'll also discuss about water, land, as well as this noise pollution. So first, starting with this air pollution. So you all know that we breathe air, we breathe oxygen, and we have different types of gases that are present in our atmosphere. But what happens if this atmosphere is getting polluted with the other gases which are harmful to the humans as well as these animals, and at the same time to the environment? So it would be very dangerous and we can't imagine that situation. But whatever the industries that are there on this earth, they are mostly trying to create this pollution. So let us see how it is created. So mostly this air pollution is caused by 2 important gases. One is sulfur dioxide as well as this carbon monoxide. And not only this sulfur dioxide and carbon monoxide, we also see most of the vehicles, we use vehicles, car, bike, and you can also take a bus, or you can take any other vehicle. So most of these vehicles, they release lot of smoke into the air, which is also the main cause for this pollution. And the other thing is that most of the smoke which is arrived and which is creating the pollution is basically from this chemical and paper industries. If you have ever come across this chemical industries or the paper factories, you can find a lot of pungent smell coming around these factories, which means they are generating the smoke which is very dangerous to the environment, humans, as well as animals. So the main cause of this air pollution is being done by chemical and paper factories. And suppose some of the chemical factories, what they are also that means what can happen if the chemical factories are existing is that sometimes toxic gases might leak from these chemical factories. You know, one of the most tragic incident which happened in India, that is Bhopal gas leakage, which has created a lot of destruction in this Bhopal, and you can see almost 10,000 people have got affected because of this Bhopal gas leakage. And still now people who are burned there, they burn with some kind of defects or some kind of disorders in their body. So that means you can see, if somewhere long ago, something around 1984, this Bhopal gas tragedy has taken place, but till now its impact being affected. So you can see how air pollution is dangerous. So next we will discuss about water pollution, land, and noise pollution. Then we will also find out the solutions for these pollutions, how we can control this pollution. Let us discuss about the other important type of pollution, that is water pollution. So you all know that water is also being contaminated or being polluted by various industries, at the same time other human activities. So now we will see how this water is getting polluted. So the main culprits, or you can say the main factors which are causing this water pollution are basically organic and inorganic industries. So when we have discussed about chemical industries, we have seen that how this organic industries will produce and how these inorganic industries. So the main cause of this water pollution is basically from this organic as well as this inorganic industries. Whatever the waste released from this organic industries as well as inorganic industries is causing this water pollution. And among them, the main culprits, that means the main industries which are causing this water pollution are basically the paper industry, which we have already seen in the air pollution. So the paper industry is being causing this air pollution. At the same time, it is also causing this water pollution. Then you can say pulp industries, chemical industries, textiles, petroleum refineries, etc., etc. So lot of industries, they are causing this water pollution. And not only that, even if you also take this human activities, sometimes the human activities are also causing this water pollution. And you can see what kind of wastes are actually causing this water pollution. Or you can take this fly ash, phosphogypsum, iron and steel slangs. So whatever the waste coming from these industries, it can be in the form of fly ash or phosphogypsum, at the same time iron and steel slangs. So because of these wastes are directly being released into the water bodies. It may be river, it may be lake, or it may be pond. So because of this, what is happening? The water is being polluted. And there is another important type of pollution which we will discuss. So that is about this thermal pollution. What do you mean by this thermal pollution? So thermal pollution is somewhat very closely related to the water pollution. So let us see how it is related to this water pollution. So basically, when hot water from the factories and thermal plant is drained into the rivers and ponds, that causes this thermal pollution. That means, you see, some of the factories, they release hot water after being used. For example, you take heavy water plants, or sometimes you take thermal power plants. So they release hot water, and this hot water, it is being directly released into the nearby rivers as well as these ponds. So if hot water is directly released into the ponds or thermal plant, you can also call it as the thermal power plant. So when the hot water is released into this nearby water bodies or ponds, we call it as this thermal pollution. And this thermal pollution as well as this water pollution is somewhat very closely related. And at the same time, because this thermal pollution is also being done by this something known as waste from nuclear power plants, and these nuclear power plants, whatever the waste they are releasing, they are also directly draining into these rivers as well as ponds. So what happens when people consume or when people take this water? What is happening? It can cause cancer, birth defects, as well as this miscarriages. So these are some of the problems which can be caused by this nuclear power plant waste, which is released into the rivers as well as this ponds. Then the next which we will discuss is about soil pollution as well as this water pollution, and how they are very closely related. Then we will also see about noise pollution. We will discuss how this soil as well as this water pollution is closely related. For example, if you take some of the waste from this glass industries, chemical industries, as well as this other industries, what happens is that some kind of waste we may not be able to release into the water. Instead, we directly throw it on the land or the soil. Then what happens? Whenever the rain comes, what happens? This rainwater, it percolates into the ground, and during the process of percolation, this rainwater also carries all these kind of chemicals, industrial waste deep into the ground. And because of this, what happens? The groundwater is getting polluted, and at the same time, the soil which is lying above that ground on the surface of the earth is also becoming useless. So that means both are happening at a time. Soil is getting polluted without any use, and at the same time, water is also getting polluted, especially the groundwater. So how it is happening? When the industrial waste is being thrown directly on the land or directly on the soil, and as I told, this waste is carried by the rainwater and into the ground, which makes the groundwater into polluted groundwater. Then the next very important type of pollution is this noise pollution, and this noise pollution also creates a lot of effects on humans. So what kind of effects it can create is that it causes irritation. Sometimes if there is a lot of noise, what happens? You'll get irritated. Then anger, sometimes hearing impairment. So if you are continuously getting this noise pollution, it might create a hearing impairment. We may become sometimes a deaf. So that is also one problem. Then it may also cause this increased heart rate or the pulse rate, and at the same time blood pressure as well as psychological disorders or effects. So these are all these caused because of this noise pollution. Then who will cause this noise pollution is mainly the industries. Whatever the machinery they set up, whatever the instruments they set up in the industries, they cause a lot of noise, and at the same time the construction activities, they also create a lot of noise pollution, generators, and at the same time nowadays it has become very fashion to people to have a bigger loudspeakers when they go for when they arrange any parties, marriages or any function. So these kind of things, industries, factories, construction activities, loudspeakers, so all these things they are causing a lot of noise pollution, which results in irritation, anger, hearing impairment, heart rate or BP, blood pressure, psychological disorders, etc., etc. So all these problems are being created because of this noise pollution. So next what we will do is that we will discuss how to control this industrial pollution, the solution to this industrial pollutions. The next topic which we are going to discuss is about this control of environmental degradation. That means how to control these various types of pollution, that is water pollution, air pollution as well as noise pollution. So first let us start with this water pollution. How to control this water pollution? What are the methods we can follow to control this water pollution? So the first and very important thing is reuse and recycling of this water. That means whatever the water which they are releasing from the industries, they need to be reused, at the same time they should be recycled. Then the next thing is harvesting rainwater. That means most of the industries, what they do is that they take the water from the nearby rivers, ponds, they use it, again the waste is being released into the rivers or ponds. But instead of that, the industries, they should try to harvest the rainwater for their industrial purpose. That is the one of the best method. Then the next very important thing is treating hot water and wastes before releasing into the rivers and ponds. That means each and every factory or the industry, they have to set up something known as this ETP, effluent treatment plant, or sometimes we also call it as a sewage treatment plant. And this effluent treatment plant or the sewage treatment plant, it processes the water before being released into the rivers or lakes. So let us see how it can be processed. So the first and very important thing how we can do is that we can do something known as this primary treatment. That means we have to do this mechanical process or the mechanical means. So under this primary treatment, three main stages are involved. So one is three main stages. One is this screening, the next one is this grinding and flocculation as well as this sedimentation. So these are four stages are required under the primary treatment of this water. So before we release the water into the wastewater into the rivers or ponds, we need to do three important steps. There one is primary treatment, secondary treatment as well as tertiary treatment. So under the primary treatment, we also call it as the mechanical process. Here the steps involved is screening of the water, then grinding of the water, then flocculation as well as this sedimentation. Then under this secondary stage, what we do is that we do this something known as this biological process. Then under tertiary treatment, we again all combine all these three things, that is biological, chemical and physical process. And here in the tertiary treatment, what we actually do is that we will completely recycle the water, whatever the water, hot water or the wastewater. So if we can follow all these steps, we can actually control this water pollution. So next we will see how to control this air pollution as well as noise pollution. Let us discuss how to control this noise pollution as well as this air pollution. So first we'll start with this air pollution. So how to control this air pollution is that mainly we have to fit the smokestacks to the factories. That means whatever the factories are there, every factory we should fit something known as this smokestacks. That means from which the smoke is being emitted, and these smokestacks, they must be fitted with something known as this electrostatic precipitators as well as you can see fabric filters, then at the same time inertial separators. So these three things must be fixed to this smokestacks, so that whatever the smoke that is being released, it might not contain something known as this particulate matter. So this particulate matter is very dangerous. Even if we smoke or if we breathe that, it might cause lung disorders as well as heart diseases. So if factories are being set up or fitted with smokestacks, and each smokestack, if it is fitted with electrostatic precipitators as well as fabric filters and at the same time inertial separators, we can reduce the smoke, we can reduce this air pollution. And at the same time, using oil or gas instead of coal, that means most of the industries, they use coal for various purposes, but instead of that coal, if they can use oil or gas, we can also reduce the pollution. Then the next thing is how to control this noise pollution. So how we can control is that simply by fixing generators should be fitted with the silencers. That means for each and every generator or any other machines, they must be fixed with the silencers. That is one thing. Then at the same time, noise absorbing material should also be used. That means some of the instruments or some things which are used in the factories, there are some areas where we can use this noise absorbing material. That means in a particular room or in a particular hall, we can fix a noise absorbing material. So by using silencers to the generators, at the same time by using noise absorbing material, we can control this noise pollution. So with this, we have discussed what is industrial pollution, different types, and how to control them. So with this, we have completed this chapter called manufacturing industries. Thank you.